What is going on, everybody? It is Monday, January the 24th, and that means it's time for my news radar. One of the more interesting features of Windows 11 has got to be the fact that you can now, in certain builds of Windows 11, run Android apps. In fact, you can simply go to the Microsoft Store and download a version of the Amazon App Store, which will then allow you to run Android apps on your Windows 11 desktop, laptop, PC, whatever you want to call it, inside sort of an emulator shell. And I've covered that already pretty extensively in the past, and it works relatively well. There are applications that will let you sideload other apps as well, because the Amazon App Store, even still a couple of months on, is pretty much devoid of anything worth downloading. But like I said, you can sideload other app stores and so forth. But one of the biggest problems with this method is that you don't have access to the Google Play services. Now, I'm sure someone's hacking that onto Windows 11, and I'm sure that's a thing that's going to happen. However, it's not something that works stock out of the box, and because of that, certain applications and certain games just aren't going to run correctly or at all on your Windows 11 PC. Well, Google is stepping in and doing something kind of radical and kind of crazy. I'm actually kind of still shocked that this is happening. Google launches a beta of Android games on Windows PC. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Google is actually launching what they're calling the Google Play Games beta on Windows PCs. And this is not Windows 11. This is just Windows in general, right? I think it's Windows 10 and Windows 11 compatible. Now, this beta is only available in 3 countries, okay? And we're talking about Hong Kong, South Korea, and Taiwan. Now, why those are the places that are being targeted, I do not know. But basically what we're talking about here, as we let their clever little video play, is the full slate of Google Play games functional on your Windows PC. And this is something, like I said, you can sideload some games through Windows 11's Android shell, but a lot of games need those Play services, and this is going to let you play those games on your Windows PC. Now, it's unclear to me at this point if this is sort of, something that's going to be a harbinger of things to come, right? Are we going to see more Android apps officially supported by Google on Microsoft Windows software in the future? Or is this something that they're just thinking about with games, right? We know that Google wants you to play some of their games on your PC, whether it's Stadia or something like that. So is this just Google saying, hey, I know of a way that we can get games that we have, that we make money from people buying on PCs already, we can just do this? Is this just their means to sort of capture some of the gaming market on PC? Or is this, like I said, a harbinger of things to come? Are they going to eventually want to bring all Android apps over? And honestly, it doesn't really make sense not to bring all Android apps over, because you can play games like this, you can run Instagram or Twitter or whatever you want to run. It should work just the same. Now, they are also promising seamless gameplay sessions between phone, tablet, Chromebook, and Windows PC, which is really, really cool for someone like me that might play something like Pocket City. I'm over here playing with my city, building stuff on my phone away, go to my computer, load it up. Maybe it's going to carry over. That would be very, very cool to be able to do. And of course, we have to wonder, does this run better than Microsoft's implementation? And to me, this kind of feels, again, like Microsoft and Google kind of butting heads, right? We've talked about how Microsoft has the Your Phone app to let you access your phone and your notifications and your messages on your PC. And then Google comes out and says, we're going to do our own version of that. It's going to be better. It's going to be built in. They're constantly butting heads right now for some reason. And I think that this is just the latest, greatest example of Microsoft offering a functionality which very much does not use Google stuff, right? It's using Amazon's App Store. That's not a coincidence. And then here comes Google to do their version of it, which might wind up being better at this point. Super fascinating to see how all of this is going to play out. And then speaking of Windows 11, it does appear as though the user base of Windows 11 is slowly creeping up higher and higher. I think that's always one of the most difficult things to do whenever you put out a new operating system like Windows 11, is to get people to actually update to it. A lot of us use our PCs for work type things, and therefore we might be afraid to update to a newer version of the operating system for fear that something that we use every day might get broken. And in fact, in earlier builds of Windows 11, the video editor that I use for this YouTube channel was crashing constantly. Well, luckily, that stuff seems to have ironed itself out. And now I can say that Windows 11 is pretty solid, and it seems to be getting better and better as time goes on. And because of that, more and more people are adopting it here via Windows Central. Windows 11 sees big gains in Steam's survey December 2021 results. If you don't know, Steam does this thing where they look at everybody that has Steam installed, and they basically take a look at your specs, your hardware, and your software. And it basically says, okay, here's what the average person is using. And with that information, we can glean some information about the trends in PCs. And what we see here is that Windows 11 appears to have secured a smidgen over a tenth of Steam's users on PC. And that's actually pretty good. I mean, there's a lot of people on Steam gaming, and for a tenth of them to already be on Windows 11 is very, very good. Now, of course, Windows 10 still has 81%. Windows 7 is down to 3%. But still, for them to have already gotten to 10% is pretty good. And if you look at something like Android, where these updates are slower to move out, when they put out a new operating system, it takes forever for that new OS to reach majority share. As you can see here, for more information, which I find this stuff really, really fascinating, as you can see, NVIDIA maintains a stranglehold on the video card usage. I am an NVIDIA person with my GTX 1070 Ti. My wife, I believe, has an RTX 2060, so a couple of NVIDIA cards in here. On the processor side, we're still pretty much ruled by Intel, even though AMD is slowly creeping up, right? They're slowly eating into that share up to 69% Intel at that point. But Intel is still pretty much in charge. And of course, this is a mixed household. I have an Intel i7 90 something or another, and Jesse has a Ryzen 5 of some sort. I don't remember. It's a couple years old. And then you can also see more and more people begin to have 8 CPU cores. You can see this all trending that way, where more and more cores are getting more and more common. That's super fascinating to see. Strangely, some people are trying to game on Mac. I don't know why you would want to do such a thing. That seems crazy to me. VR headsets. You look at the Oculus Quest 2, just steamrolling up higher and higher. That's an unbelievable amount of growth in a very short amount of time. Windows mixed reality, not doing a whole lot in terms of gaming. That's not something that's a huge focus for them, and clearly that is showing. Really interesting data overall. Cool to see Windows 11 is growing as well. Now, this is a news story where we're here getting dangerously close to boy who cried wolf territory, but I thought it was at least relevant enough to bring to you. Won't spend a lot of time on this. There's not much to say here. John Prosser, the guy who showed us these renders of the Pixel Watch, what this might look like. He's talking about the Pixel Watch multiple times in the past. We don't know if he's been right or wrong because nothing's happened. He's not really given a date at any point that I can recall. Now he is giving a date. He's saying, he's hearing, Google is planning on launching the Pixel Watch May 26th, over a year since he claims that this was leaked. If this is accurate, that would be the case. This is the first we've seen a set date on the device behind the scenes. Google is never pushing dates back. If they do, we'll know. Eyeballs. I love the way that the Pixel Watch looks in these renders. So that's really what they release it looking like. I think that'll be okay. I don't know that I love the silicone bands. I'm more of a metal band kind of person because I hate dealing with the silicone bands. Like, they're more comfortable for sure, but like the act of like feeding them through and latching them, I just have a devil of a time doing that. And for me, just being able to just do that and to latch the thing back down, that's just so much better for me. But hopefully that's something you might be able to swap out and do, you would think. But at any rate, I'd love to see the Pixel Watch actually come out, just more or less just to see Google's actual vision of what a smartwatch should look like. Again, take this with a pinch of salt, but it may wind up being true. And let's round things out here with something I think is pretty interesting. So as you guys know, my wife has been daily driving the Galaxy Z Flip, the newest one, the Z Flip 3. And she does quite enjoy that phone, despite it not having great battery life. She doesn't love the camera. She misses her Pixel camera a little bit, but either way, she is still enjoying it. She likes being able to fold the thing up, put it in her tiny little pockets that women's pants have for some reason. But there is a feature on the Z Flip 3 that she thought was cool initially that I don't think she uses like almost at all, and that is the cover display. And that is what this article here from 9 to 5 Google is talking about, because this piece of software here called Cover Screen OS brings a ton of added functionality to that cover display. And if we scroll down here, I will let this video play, and we can kind of see exactly what we're talking about. So currently the cover display really can't do a whole lot more than see your notifications, see text messages and things like that, but it can't really do a ton of stuff. Well, with this piece of software, you can have all that. You can blind yourself with a flashlight, which is, I mean, who wouldn't want to do that? Just turn on a flashlight, it's already facing your face. That's great. But I digress. It basically allows you to add a ton of different widgets, a ton of different options, a ton of different toggles and so forth. But further than that, you actually have a full-blown launcher situation, if I can find the spot where that is shown, where he is literally just launching full-blown apps to run on the cover displays. He's in the Play Store there, launching his messaging app. They're just running on that cover display itself. So taking it from being just a little widget panel, essentially, to just being your phone, but on a tiny little screen is kind of interesting. Now, I can't imagine this is something that my wife would ever want to do, but it's cool for tinkerers, right? Because then you start thinking about, okay, like here he puts Fruit Ninja on there. Maybe you want to play Fruit Ninja on your cover display. I mean, that would be kind of cool, right? To not have to open up your phone. Maybe you're busy, you don't want to open it. Maybe you're playing some Fruit Ninja kind of in a very sneaky ninja-esque way. That might be a fun thing to try and do. It reminds me of when people like ported games over to the smartwatch, right? People were like playing Doom on a watch. It's like no one would really do this, but it's cool that you can. If you guys are curious about this, let me know. Maybe I can grab my wife's phone for like 15 minutes and try to demo this thing for you more thoroughly. Although I will say that it will probably take a lot of you telling me this, because apparently the app requires a subscription of $10 a month, which is absolutely insane. And I mean, again, if you guys really want to see it, maybe I'll do it. But that's probably a killing feature. And I don't know why. I don't understand why this is a thing now. I mean, I guess I do understand from like the capitalist perspective of trying to make money, but for consumers, that stuff just sucks, right? Like you've made a pretty cool little app here. Like this is a pretty neat little thing that you've made. Just sell it. Make it $10. You're asking for $100 for this thing, or indefinite $10 a month indefinitely? That's just insane. Like, do you really think anyone's going to buy this for $100? Do you think this is worth $100 per purchase? I don't know. In fact, I do know, and no, it's not. That's insane. This is such a niche product. Again, I get that it took work. I get that you spent your time on it. But here's the thing. If you don't make a product that's worth money, you can't just say it took me a long time, therefore it's worth money. That's not how this works. Side tangent rant concluded. Guys, thanks for making it to the end of today's News Radar. I will see you back here on the next one, which will come every Monday and Friday. And until next time, stay nerdy, my friends.